Let's talk about another manager. Happens to be the coach of a Super Eagles player. At the end of the season, you probably say was the coach. Walter Mazzarri, coach of Watford, the club announcing that that the parting ways with the Italian. And you know, sometimes when these things happen, you try to look at it from the angle of the Nigerian involved. With the new manager like him, with the new manager giving playing time. Most of us were disapprehensive when Pep Guardiola came to City, and you know, our fears were justified with what has happened to Kelechi. But now we're talking about Walter Mazzarri actually because of Isaac's success. But talking about the man, you know, in your view, has he really failed the owners of the club?
I don't know. Maybe I just feel that maybe I don't know what in terms of agreement they had initially. But quite frankly, Watford just back from Division 1 and straight to the Premiership. I think they should be satisfied with their retaining their status in the Premiership. But the thing is that they set themselves a high target. High standard, and they brought in players. As the success has not really been so much of a hit, I must say, since he came from Grenada, and midway into the season, just at the beginning of the season, Igalo was really in poor form. He never really peaked.
Even Troy Deeney at some point.
Troy Deeney at some point. So really, one thing with coaches is that, Antonio Conte said something when they lost 2-0 to Manchester United. He said he was unable to motivate his players to play at the highest level. That is the responsibility a coach has to face. If you cannot motivate your player to be able to play as well as they should, with the players they brought in and everything, realized that they did not really maximize the potential they had, and all through the season they've been scrapping results, losing games, even in recent times. I think they've looked at it really for the new campaign, for the new season and their projection. Walter Mazzarri doesn't suit the bill.
Yeah, is it not worrisome that there's a high turnover of managers? He was the 9th manager in 5 years. If he leaves, it's still in the same calendar year, 10 managers in 5 years.
Well, they know what they want to achieve, and so long as they don't get there, they will keep firing managers. The thing is that they know what they've put on the table, and if the result does not reflect, then there is need to effect a change, and it's just the standard they've set for themselves. You might look at it and say this is something they should be able to put up with, but when you have a standard, they just feel they should be a mid-table team, and with what they've put on the table, if they are not a mid-table team, something is definitely wrong. And I believe that Watford, with what they have, they should be finishing 9th or 10th or even close to the Intertoto, position in the league. It's quite unfortunate that where they are.
All right. So at the end of the season, a new manager comes to Watford. Let's not forget Walter Mazzarri was responsible for bringing Isaac's success to Watford. So we'll see what happens with that club and with the Nigerian in that club. All right. Let's talk about the Super Eagles. Joseph, all of us, I mean, most football fans were happy with the plans lined up for this period, May ending, early June, the friendlies, where it looked as if we were even trying to walk around that calendar and get some friendlies, even though not on that
was in the free
window, and everything looked like it was okay. But now we're hearing that the Paris friendly will not hold.
I started having issues with the Paris friendly against Togo when it was the Togolese FA that confirmed it without the Nigerian Football Association, confirming it. I knew something was fishy. This thing has to do with a lot of arrangements, the agents putting it together, the fees involved, and it's a whole lot of package. And on the side of the Nigerian team, when players like Olarewaju calendar started, shifting,
injuries
started coming in, and they started dropping some players. I realized that this is something that might not work out the way they planned it, and I wasn't really surprised when they said it has been cancelled. The entire thing didn't look tidy initially. It was only the Corsica thing that was sealed. The other friendly issue was something they were still, working on, and this is something.
But we always knew it was going to be tight.
That's the thing. But why would they fix it when they have not confirmed the team to play. So when they decided to call it off on the basis of the fact that they could be the friendly with Togo, you know, was not practical, I wasn't surprised at all. I wasn't surprised.
How much of a blow is this? The other plans that you alluded to, everything seems to be well planned and structured. So how much of a blow is this? Is it just a dent or a huge blow?
It's a dent. It's a dent, really. I do believe that it's a dent because it was
not a huge blow.
Not a huge blow. Not a huge blow because, quite frankly, if you look at the list, 25-man list, it just wanted to use that opportunity to really see the players. You know, it was more like a holiday meeting, an opportunity for him to see what the players have got.
Not throw them into the high stakes.
It would have been nice if we had another friendly game. It would have given him an opportunity to really have a closer look and be certain of the ability. But as it is now, I still believe the peak of it is still the match against Cameroon. And I do believe he has an idea of the team already.
Of South Africa?
The match against South Africa, you know, on the 10th of June. I do believe that this particular exposure will give him an opportunity to see the boys at close range, close proximity, and assess the ability. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a match situation. A match would have been more ideal, but as it is now, the game has been, he has to make do with the game against Corsica. And I think he should be comfortable with what because already we have a team. What we are looking for is French players, you know, in some auditioning for some positions that are vacant. But the crop of the team is already in place, and by the time the invitations are extended, it will include the bulk of the main team itself.
All right, let me allow you to lend your voice to the huge debate now, and a lot of players opting to play for Nigeria. Before, when you hear someone say, I want to play for Nigeria, you think it's lying, it's not the one that said it, but them going as far as writing a letter of intent to the FA. I mean, players springing up from everywhere. And within that context, do you think we have all the best available to Nigeria, or still somehow our eyes are still not on Nigeria's best?
I think our eyes are still. I think our eyes are still on Nigeria's best. I do believe that the brand equity of the Super Eagles has increased, you know, and the fact that we've had players from England represent Nigeria, Shola Amobi and co, has really given those abroad the opportunity to dream and see that this is something that is not just a facade, something that could actually happen. You know, it is even after that, the younger brother of Shola Amobi did indicate interest that he wants to play for Nigeria on the basis of the fact that the brother represented this country.
Went to the World Cup.
So really, people are beginning to look at it. You know, the English team is possible for them, but they know that it's a long shot. It will take time for them to get to a certain level, and who knows, you know, they might not really get there. So, and the brand equity has increased, and the possibility of Nigeria making it to the World Cup also, with virtue of the result attained so far, looks very, very real. Looks very, very possible. And they are beginning to weigh their options. You know, they can still get endorsements in Nigeria. For commercial purpose, it's still a viable alternative. So it's just a combination of so many factors. So Nigeria is no longer as backward as it used to. It looks like it's still a country that can compete at international level. And we have great players in this country. And with what the result we've achieved so far in the World Cup qualifying for the World Cup is a real possibility.
Oh, okay.
I think they are looking at the prospect. It is something that they wouldn't mind, you know, being part of.
All right. Okay. Okay. So we'll leave it at that, and we'll continue with this interesting topic, talking about the Super Eagles and all the events related to the senior national team. We'll go on a break, and when we return, we'll still be talking about the Super Eagles and some other issues, all for you on Sports Tonight.